Right, this is another conversation from the John Crump show. This is when I first jumped into the conversation about an hour and a quarter into the show. Walt, DJ, and John Crump had been having a conversation about the pistol brace and different facets of that. I had jumped in, and at some point there was a lull in the conversation, and DJ had asked what my position was on the pistol brace ruling, and here's my reply. So I was trying to suggest out there that this is a bad thing, obviously, but let's look at our opponents and let's look at the long game. We aren't running a bunch of little races like a bunch of inconsequential little league teams that are filling our summers, with a wholesome activity that gives us exercise, right? Aren't we attempting to make our lives, our descendants' lives easier to rein in the government who are our employees and our representatives? So instead of just only using our time together, which is finite, to complain about the obvious, which is obvious. So what I'm suggesting here is not compliance or somehow apathy to this. But in addition, I'm assuming that everyone is more competent than we were in the past. Everybody wants to throw the NRA under the bus because we weren't around when in the 80s when the NRA's leadership went down to a couple of people, less than a dozen, and steered it in the direction it's at and let 5 million people be oblivious. Nobody wants to pay attention to that because that happened before, right? So are we going to be aware of what we're responsible for right now? We're a mechanism. As a community, when we're threatened, we complain about what we're threatened with, and we look to each other like this is an endless debate with no consequence, and we're sitting around over lunch eating some fries and complaining about each other's strategy, and in the end, things happen or they don't, and we are satisfied or we're not. The alternative to that, my 30,000-foot view, is why do we react with that methodology, right? Why are we complacent and satisfied with simply arguing the nuts and bolts of these tactics? For one, I'm going to still insist that we take a look and observe that with all the stuff that this administration needs to distract from, the border, the economy, the health, international stuff, with all the stuff going on, he desperately needs a diversion. He desperately needs a win. And if he had any kind of actual, resources or confidence that he could accomplish anything, he'd be doing more than asking the ATF to suggest to us that we comment on something they're thinking about. And if you want to give more credence to what they're actually doing here, which is asking about something they're thinking about doing, which is a function of the apparatus, if you're going to get so offended and leave the scene, I mean, we're seeing comments where people are like, it's over, like this is the last straw. So if you're going to be offended to the point where you've become manipulated because they've suggested something, then we're looking at the blade of the opponent. What I'm suggesting is let's think about why the opponents are grabbing swords in the first place. And let's talk about the 30,000-foot view. So instead of wasting our finite time together, constantly focusing on the minutia of what I consider to be an ambush. When they throw this stuff at us, they know that they have distracted us and effectively made us useless. We have national level organizations, we have state level organizations, we have organizations that are focused on areas of interest. Those organizations are not united by any kind of national level leadership or strategy. Although they have the opportunity to do so, they've never taken any advantage of that. And what we're left with is squabbling amongst ourselves, creating in division, fostering rifts like we're seeing in the comments right now, misunderstandings because of the finite amount of words we're allowed to use and people's ability to get points across in comment fields in live conversations like this. So instead of submitting and being a contributing factor of this ambush point, why don't we acknowledge that it's an ambush point, acknowledge that we're able to both defeat with the comment periods, defeat through whatever the things you want to hold up as your badge, your version of virtue signaling of how you're going to defend your your rights or whatever, but instead let's look at what could actually be done. We've got resources at a national level, including, again, those national level organizations. We've got ladies that are changing the face of gun ownership to the representatives at the national and local level. We've got the new gun owners that have come onto the scene who are represented by gun owners groups that are not new, but have got new huge membership lists. So they're experiencing massive membership growth. We have resources that we are untapped and we're not using with any kind of air traffic control, without any kind of overall leadership, without any kind of overall strategy. So my suggestion is, if we changed our tactics as individuals and had 30,000-foot view conversations when these kind of ambushes come up, and take care of the ambush itself in stride, like we're capable of doing, I'm totally confident that us as a community, just like we did in 2012, when Obama put 23 executive actions at us and we had, again, no unifying leadership to show us how to defend against that. Grassroots activism defended against it. And we just have to grab that which is in us and then additionally challenge why they're choosing a sword to come at us instead of all the other weapons that were on the wall. Why are they coming at us with this? Once we can effectively stifle their ability to come at us with ATF comments, we've changed the game. And ideally, we've strengthened ourselves as individuals because we have new methods of working together, and we've challenged our national level organizations to not just accept our $30 donations and pander, but instead offer leadership that a national level organization with sometimes decades of experience and Rolodexes and all the other assets they have can offer that we suggest the NRA squandered. That's my point.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that, but I also
Walt, can I break in for 1 second? Are you fired up, gWebs?
I yell because I have bad internet.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'm not fired up. I'm just because after years of watching the same old manipulation, it gets boring watching people get mad at the details. I keep saying, if you're going to continue to watch The Blade, you're never going to question why the adversaries pull a sword off the wall. We can stop them from fighting us by questioning and defeating them before they pick up the sword and not waiting until they've drawn blood to try to work together.
So yeah, great. Like let's focus on that point, right? So why are they going?
And this is the point where Walt effectively tries to derail the conversation, talk about some liberal topic. But no, this is just a place where I can pause and leave this as a segment of the larger conversation. It was a 3-hour conversation, but those are some points that I had made that I thought might be interesting to separate out, put over here on our channel, and for a place for people to leave some comments. So we encourage you to go check out the whole conversation over on John Crump News. It was actually on both of his channels, so check it out on either channel or both, and leave comments here or there. And until next time, thanks for watching. Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel. Thanks for watching.
The guys and gals at gunwebsite.com encourage you to take a CCW course every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.